Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman and Ranking Member, and thank you for being here as our witness today, Ms. Albert. We spent a fair amount of time talking about the disasters, and I noticed in your beginning of your written testimony, you acknowledged that the United States has never seen a hurricane season like the one we just experienced. And for the audience and those who are watching, you're probably making reference to Harvey in Texas, that was a Category 4 that was in August, and then Irma that was a Category 5 that was in September, hitting Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, and then Maria, of course, in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, Category 4 again in September, just a couple weeks apart. I know in part how devastating that was. Right before Maria hit in Puerto Rico, I was there about 10 days before that, having an opportunity to be there and see the beauty of that territory. And so you can imagine how devastating it was. My executive assistant, who works for me in my D.C. office, that's his home. His parents are there, his grandparents, his godfather, who is the Health and Human Services Director there and a surgeon. And they've all been devastated by this, and not to mention the members of Congress who live in and have families in those states that have been affected by Harvey and Irma and Maria, and then, of course, Nate in Mississippi. So where I'm going with this question, when you talked about how devastating financially this is, with that said, do you think that HUD has enough resources within the department to adequately administer the CDBG disaster relief program, in your opinion?
No, I don't think they have enough resources.
Okay, so in your role and being part of that team, one of the questions when Secretary Carson was here a few weeks ago, as you probably are aware, that he did a minus 15% reduction he requested in his budget for this year. So one of the questions I asked him, because at that time we knew about Harvey and Irma and Maria, so if we don't have enough money, we have been devastated. As a personal note for me, when I look at the $58 billion that we recently passed for Texas, I also feel there's some disparities when you start talking about how communities in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands are being treated with the monies that are there. Just this morning, I had an opportunity to listen to the mayor of San Juan, and she talked a lot about infrastructure and the dollars and what they need. So if you, as a part of the team, recognize there's not enough money, I'm going to be like Congressman Cleaver. You have about a minute and a half to tell me how we get the money and how we fix it.
Well, I think there are certain things that can be done first. We talked about the codification, which is an authorizing issue. That's not an appropriating issue. And I think that will create some efficiencies that need to be going forward. Along with that, once you do authorizing language, which this is the Committee of Authorization, so it would have to come from this committee, there will be certain aspects of it as you go to codify the program within HUD that can be discussed, such as we really believe that there needs to be something like a jump team, like something that you see in the military and in law enforcement, where a team of HUD officials come in that are dedicated, not from all these different organizations, but that are dedicated in HUD to going into these localities as these disasters happen. There certainly need to be funding for this. They will be able to take some of it from their existing programs and put it into that. But if you're going to have a amalgamated team that is available to go at any minute, you will have to discuss, along with that authorization, some funding. Mm-hmm.
But I'm hesitant about making HUD pursue this codification in the midst of this disaster effort because I don't know if they have enough resources to accomplish this. My time has expired. I yield back.